What happens when loyalty meets reality? Today, we are talking about a resignation letter that is shaking Nigerian politics. The man who helped mobilize millions of Nigerians for Peter Obi just walked away. And his reasons, they are explosive. If you've been following Nigerian politics, you know the Obidient Movement, the energy, the hope, the social media buzz. But behind the scenes, something was terribly wrong. And today, one insider is telling us everything. So let's get into it. So first, who are we talking about? His name is Morris Monye. This man is not just some random supporter. He was the director of Mobilization for the Obidient Movement. Think of him as the guy responsible for getting people to rallies, organizing campaigns, and making sure the movement actually moved. This was not a small job. We are talking about coordinating activities across Nigeria, managing teams, and keeping the energy alive after the 2023 elections. But on November 13th, 2025, Morris Monye dropped a resignation letter that nobody saw coming. And when I say it was lengthy, I mean this man had a lot to say. So what pushed him over the edge? It was not just one thing, it was everything that has been piling up. Let's start with what finally broke the camel's back. The recent Anambra governorship election. The Labour Party candidate, George Moghalu, came in 4th place. 4th. He got just 10,576 votes in a state where Peter Obi himself is from. Think about that. This is supposed to be Obedience territory, and they could not even crack the top 3. Monye said this result made his position untenable. He could not defend staying in a job where nothing was working. But here is where things get really interesting. Morris Monye revealed something shocking. He spent approximately 40 million naira of his own money on this movement. Let me repeat that. He spent approximately 40 million naira of his own money. What did he spend it on? Let's start from there. Everything. Donations for Obidient events, travel costs for mobilization, funding committees, radio campaigns in rural areas, supporting local structures. All of it came from his own pocket. And here is the kicker. He says Peter Obi never gave the mobilization directorate any money. Zero, nothing, nada. Now you might be thinking, okay, maybe Peter Obi did not have funds to give. But Morris Monye's complaint goes deeper than money. It's about communication, or rather the complete lack of communication. According to the man, Peter Obi basically ghosted the movement leadership. There was no communication between Obi and the people actually doing the work on the ground. Monye says Obi never asked what they were doing in mobilization, never checked in, never gave direction. Imagine working for months, spending millions of your own money, and your boss does not even ask how things are going. That's what Morris Monye is describing. But it gets worse. He also complained about the movement having no real structure. It's like they had a passion and the social media presence, but when it came to actual organization, nothing. You can't run a serious political movement like a fan club. You need strategy, coordination, funding, and clear leadership. And according to Monye, the more Obedient movement had none of that. Here is something that does not get talked about enough in politics. The personal toll on the people behind the scenes. This man mentioned facing personal harassment. We don't know all the details, but imagine putting all that work, spending all that money, getting no support from leadership, watching everything fall apart, and dealing with people attacking you personally. At some point, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And that's exactly what Morris Monye did. He looked at everything, the unfulfilled goals, the lack of structure, the silence from Peter Obi, the terrible election results, and he said, no, I'm done. Now, here's what makes this resignation letter more than just a goodbye. Monye did not just quit, he gave Peter Obi some serious advice, and honestly, it's advice worth listening to. He told Obi that he needs to engage a large media team and fund political consultants to coordinate polling units. He said, and I quote, "You can't run a campaign simply from general goodwill. This is not 2023. The element of surprise is gone. Let that sink in. In 2023, Peter Obi was the underdog, the fresh face, the surprise candidate. People rallied around him because he represented something different. But now, that surprise factor is gone. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows the movement. So if Peter Obi wants to win in the future, he can't just rely on Twitter trends and passionate supporters. He needs a real political machine. He needs funding. He needs structure. He needs to actually communicate with and support people working for him. So Morris Monye is basically saying the goodwill era is over. Time to get serious or get out. So what does this resignation mean for the Obidient Movement and Peter Obi? First, it shows that the movement is in serious trouble, because when your director of mobilization publicly quits and lists all these problems, that's not a good look. It tells other supporters and coordinators that maybe things are not what they seem on social media. Secondly, it is a reality check for everyone who thought passion alone could change Nigerian politics. Yes, the enthusiasm is important. Yes, the social media presence is also very, very important. But without organization, funding and leadership, it is just pure noise. And thirdly, it puts the ball firmly in Peter Obi's court. Will he address these concerns? Will he build a structure that Morris Monye is missing? Will he start actually communicating with his movement? Or will we see more resignations like this? Now, Morris Monye's resignation is more than just one person leaving. It is a symptom of deeper problems in the Obidient Movement. Problems that won't go away just because people are passionate. The question now is, will anyone listen? What do you think, guys? Is Morris Monye right about what the movement needs? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that subscribe button, because we are covering all the political stories that matter. And until next time, guys, peace out.